So this guy went to book a hotel room and he reached there and they told him we have no rooms available. And he told them, my name is the Improvement. And she cussed him so bad. They said, there is room for me.
Hi guys, welcome to the podcast that's yet to be named Let's Jazz. I'm here with Benny and Jerry, and we just want to have a conversation on independence, right? So Benny, are you independent?
No, I don't. I don't think. I don't believe. Well, it's tight. It depends on the definition that everybody thinks of independence as. But right now, I don't think I am independent from a personal standpoint.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Same thoughts. Because I can't say I'm totally independent. I'm independent to a certain extent. And then also the other end.
That means you don't know.
So it depends on the person.
The person.
Yeah,
Okay.
it depends on the person. But as far as I'm concerned,
I used to think I was independent, but now that I have matured low-key, I don't think I'm independent.
You are the young boy.
It has proved to me that I'm not independent. Right? So, what's independence to you?
I think independence to me, I would define it as having the freedom to do something without any assistance or self. I'll give an example. Like a newborn baby is not independent because they have to depend on the mom for food and all these kinds of things. But then when they reach a certain age, they are free to walk without any assistance, run around and do all these other things on their own. Yes. Though again, to a certain extent, they are independent. But when you look at the larger picture, they aren't, because still your parents have to bring you food and also nurture, teach, and all these kinds of things.
Yeah. I like what you pointed out, the idea of choosing, right? And I think when it comes to independence, from my point of view, it's specifically choosing my time. I think if I ever get to a point where I'm able to decide what I do with my time without any external factors contributing or deciding for me, then I'll be like, yeah, happy independence. At that point. For now, yeah, I'm with you. And what do you think?
Good luck. Because the moment you train, so your time is no longer, you're not depending on the rain stopping. Yeah. I think everything that has been said is what I will say. I just don't understand why it's called independence though. But anyway, yeah, being able to do things without any need of help or any restriction. People mostly tie the word independence to freedom. So, but I don't think freedom has a limit. I think freedom. Then that means it's not freedom anyway. I think I'm going. But yeah, it's but I think independence, from my experience, is really just being your own human being or your own person to that extent of not needing anyone else. Yeah, but that's impossible.
Yeah. I also think it's impossible, but I like the thought of picking your pockets of independence.
Yeah.
Because I don't think with how the society has been structured with systems, capitalism and all the other controlling factors, that you are able to be 100% independent. But perhaps like in your own way, you can pick pockets of independence, right?
Yeah.
So if I look at my life right now, I'll be like Saturday mornings, those first hours those first hours of my Saturdays it's like my pocket of I can do what I want and in a way find things that are true to me without no one else coming in to say deliver this, do this, and the like. And at the same time I also feel like God did not create us to be independent. So I think like when he created Adam, he put him in an environment with like so many other beings, so to say, and then he brought Eve. So I think we are built to be interdependent in a way, as opposed to like independent in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think independence has changed over the years? I really want to hear from Benny on this one because of his dad relationships. I feel like it's a good comparison.
I mean, in regards to the country,
I have nothing to say.
I have no.
How do you think it has changed, from your point of view?
I think the boundaries have just grown over the time. At some point, we're not allowed to do certain things. At some point, you couldn't do them without anyone's help or hand. I think I started working towards independence in like my P7 when I had liberty to do what I wanted with the money I was given. And then from that point on, I learned that maybe I just need to make my own money and I wouldn't need to ask for transport or for airtime or for data or anything of that sort. So as time went on, I realized that, I think once I find a way to fill this gap, I can sense a bit of this independence. When my data runs out, I don't need to go and ask the parents, man, guys, I need to make a journey, I need transport. So over time, the boundaries have grown. Some of them have been opened by the people who are in authority above me. Others, I sort of forced my way through in a very polite and calm way. You ask for, or at some point certain things just stopped happening. Like I think that one way I just stopped having to need money. Okay, a certain amount of money, because money, I need money. Like there's certain amounts of money, like to buy like basic stuff, like clothes, those things. Like right now, to ask, unless it's like a wedding or something, where like your shirt is 1M or something, like Jerry, I look forward. But I would say that over time the boundaries have increased, and right now there are still boundaries. But at some point, someone stopped, asking, "Have you done this? Or do you have this? Or do you need this?" At some point, they'll be like, all they're asking is if you're okay, and that's it. What time are you coming back home? And that's it. Like, it's not about you're late at 7 p.m. But they call you at midnight and you're like, boss, Are you coming back?
Yeah,
Where? It's not even where are you. It's like, are you coming back?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Like, it's not. If you say no, like, so there's nothing like, why? Those questions are mostly answered on your own will. It's not forced out of you. So I'd say over time, because I think in P7, my dad told me when I went S1 that no, you're your own man. You want to make your own decisions, think about the consequences before you make them. It was heavy. At that age, I didn't understand, but yeah, as the years went on, I realized that like they really stopped enforcing decisions unless they knew that the decision was going to impact the rest of my life. That's when they would come and say, okay, we assume or we think that going this direction is much better. Yeah, that's what I think.
Did you have a similar conversation of you're now your own man?
Now, mine was a little bit different. It was, so my dad is one of those people who, my dad and mom are those people who, yeah, they sort of like guide you at some point, then after that they let you have your freedom. But then they remind you that there are consequences for your actions. You know, and I think I had that talk in, I remember it was my phone too. And it was, I call this my bad boy era.
Please tell us more.
My bad boy era, but things didn't work out. I made some mistakes along the way, ended up academic-wise, and ended up rebounding in class. And my dad sat me down, told me, yeah, these are, I think now you see, these are the consequences of your actions, and not doing what you're supposed to do yet. So for me, that was the wake-up call for me. You know, and even when I went back, and he made sure I go back to the same school.
Oh, trauma.
Like, see your friends over the other side, and you are the other side. But luckily, I had told my friends, the real friends would still come around and, you know, holler at you and all those things. But going back to like the bigger picture, I think it is from there that I learned to be making decisions, knowing that I am supposed to be a responsible adult. Even as much as I'm not 18 as yet, but I need to make responsible decisions, and I need to bear the consequences if the decisions are negative or positive.
Yeah.
But then also, to an extent, my parents would provide that room to come and ask them, engage. Am I doing the right thing? Because I did a bit of it. So I would come and make sure I am doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes I'll give you sarcastic answers, but of course in a joking way. But it is from there that I learned that to an extent you're a man, and being a firstborn, you will have to be the one to get certain things done. Yeah, so even if the rest of the other guys are doing nonsense, everything is on you to make sure things are done the right way. It's responsibility, in other words. Yeah, so for me, it's independence. So I came in that for learning to make decisions and also bearing the consequences for them. And so it is on me to make the right decisions, and also ensure that if I'm not sure about the decision I'm making, I ask and seek advice.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So.
Interesting you talk about the actions, because growing up my mom always said garbage in, garbage out. So I always had that at the back of my mind, like if you're faced with making a decision, just know whatever you choose to, you know, to go with, there will be consequences to whatever it is. But for me, still, independence was like more like emancipation. I remember when I was younger, I envied people who had like, you know how your sister had like a room, then she would have like how things organized, like, you know, that like a special space. I always wanted to have my own place. Not that I didn't like my home. I love my home and the people that are there. But I thought like having my own space would allow me, in a way, grow.
Yeah.
Of course, right now with adulting, I'm like, okay, water bill, hello. You know, yeah, guys, done. It's a bit of a serious, but yeah, the consequences, you know. The consequences of that are, you know, are there, but I really appreciate how independence has, in a way, like favored, because I feel like back in the day, girls specifically, you would never leave your home until like a man comes and marries you off. You know, you had to stay there, and I felt like that kind of took away the day.
In your day?
No, in those days.
Which days are they?
1900.
Those days are still happening. You go back.
I feel like, you know, that society has kind of, you know, let it be a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think it allows us to get a taste of what it's like. Yeah. Because before you like understand budgeting, financing and whatnot, you'll always be that person who's like, Mommy, there is no yaka. Yeah. There is no this, there is no this. So becoming independent, both like physically but also mentally, I feel allows for growth, right? It allows for growth. So yes. Yeah.
I think there was that time like every I don't say, I think millennials, Gen Zs, the baby boomers have gone through that. That feels like your parents don't allow you to go out. And then you go to school and you hear this guy telling you, I went out, I came back at midnight.
Do you remember Fido Dido? Were you guys?
Yeah.
Not young.
Going to Fido Dido was like, and then you have like 1,500 ice cream. Anyway, yeah.
But I think for me, learning, there was that point where my parents allowed me to, like, you go out on your own, as long as you told us where you're going. And I didn't find any trouble. If my parents said, no, you're not going, let's go up. There's no fuss about it. Or I have to lie that, hey, the streets that we're having at school and they need this amount of money, so what he sends you maybe for a book or a pamphlet, like you just let him and don't have money. And he finds a way of availing it to you, get. But I think even learning at that point that when I go out, they provided that room. When you go out, you time yourself and know that by this time I'm supposed to be home. And it sort of like grows with time, knowing that, hey, I'm going for a party and I need to leave at this particular day. Like I don't have the leisure or the luxury of staying up to a particular time. As a responsible adult, you know that I'm supposed to leave at a particular time, have my enjoyments, and then I leave and go back home. Yeah.
So, do you feel like your journey of like growing up from not being independent to being independent in certain aspects, how do you think that has informed your spiritual journey? Do you see any links between your spiritual journey and your independence?
Yeah. You just can't be independent.
God humbles you.
You just can't be there and you're there. Just independent there. You know, it just can't happen. Well, that's if you really want to have a strong relationship with God and live according to His will and His destiny for you and things like that. You have to keep going back to Him. Like the story of David when David was being hunted by Saul. At every point, David was faced with a challenge. He went and asked God, should I do this or should I do this? The funny part was when they had camped in some town and Saul's guys were coming, and David asked God, should I run or should I fight? And God told him to run. I was like, okay. Sometimes it's not obvious that we are going to win every day. And because we think we have the ability to, and we have the power to, we are going to win. But when you go back to God, He gives you the real reality that if you fight now, you will lose these guys and you won't be able to fight tomorrow. So going back to God and saying, hey man, okay, what should I do now? What should I do today? What David did. And over time I realized that, hey man, every decision I made without asking someone older than me or someone that has experience in that field, most of the time didn't go well. I would say 98% of the time. Most of it never went well. And I just learned the hard way. I wouldn't say I learned in past tense. I am learning. Because every day our head grows big. Every day we feel like, yeah, my chest is bigger. I can carry this load. And then after some time, you fall down, your face is in the mud, you stand up and people are laughing. Or you stand up and like there's no one around you except God, the person who sent you to that spot. Just to go back to Him and say, hey, okay, what do I do? Please point me in the direction that you want me to go. Otherwise, if I go without you, yeah, I'm going to fail very badly. Yeah.
I also feel like in a way that contributed to because I had a season where I was like, I'm so independent, you know, I do what I want, I say what, but somehow I think God has a way of like nurturing each one of us to the extent that He brings you to the end of yourself, you know, and you get to a point you're like, okay, I got to a point I was like, I give up, yeah, you're good. You know? And that for me was like the end of, and it helped me really appreciate my dependency on Him, my dependency on mentors, like you said, even just teammates. I kind of now started appreciating like teamwork and working with people on like different projects, because I mean, there are so many factors that affect who you are and who you grow into and who you evolve into. So to that extent, you cannot be fully you cannot be fully independent. And I feel like that is why Christ left us a helper to kind of, you know, get us through this journey. I mean, like He became man, you know, for us. Like He knows that this
just can't do it alone.
That struggle, you just cannot do it alone. So like, let me leave these niggas without yeah. So that for me is like something that I treasure, because I'm like, if the helper is there, it only means that I need to depend on Him.
Yeah.
So my independence journey and my spiritual journey have kind of come, or daily get into a sync, or I'm like, okay, this, take over. Very.
And for me, I have my independence and my spirituality. I've seen it mostly in my relationship with my dad, with my parents especially, and how when I'm going through something, I'm like, I'm a guy, I have to sort of let me find a way. Like my friend, even the way I wait you.
It takes off.
It shows itself, right?
So, and you have to go back and sit down and ask your parents for help. You know, sit down with them and then, fine. Then you run, it's a jam.
Yeah.
And for me, it translates into my relationship with God. How you run away, go do your own thing, like follow your heart, you know, do you. Come to learn over yeah, like I think the Bible says the heart is deceptive above, is wicked above all everything. Who can understand it? You get so you can think that what I'm thinking about is the right thing and this is the direction I'm taking, and like I think I can do this on my own and get it. But I think God created us to depend on Him, you know, and it's something I'm constantly learning each and every day, and that I have to depend on Him like all over again, like every day, like a newborn baby depends on, you know, the mother, its mother for food, for milk, for support, and all these things. Even in the womb, like if the mother doesn't eat, the kid is going to, you know, run mad inside there.
Yeah.
And so for me, I have found that whenever I choose to be independent on my own, as regards to my decision making and things like that, I think taking this course of action would be cover for me, you know. That might be cover for me. And I think in there is God's way of showing me that on my own, like this is where you're supposed to be, close to me. I know I just say, Father, you go. The worst things get and you have to run back. And this one I remember the young man, young man, but
when you were younger.
in my younger days, you know, every I think it's everybody's dream of when you finish campus, you grab a job. In 3 years, you grab a job in 3 years, you're training, you know, at 25. The time as one of my friends and me made a deal to retire at 27.
Bem, you tired?
Yeah, so there's that whole thing of wanting to possess things. But in the end, like possessing things without, like if you desire to possess, like that's all in your mind. You want to be independent, to possess these things, and get these things, and enjoy these things. Like you're not even enjoying them with the right motive to get. I think in the end, like the famous song, famous verse from the band called Switchfoot. I'm forgetting the name of the song, but in one of the verses it says you possess your possessions and they possess you. You get it? So in the long run you end up being
You become possessed.
It's not good because now money is the one driving your course of action.
Yeah.
You get, and you start to do all kinds of hideous things. I mean, we've been seeing them here the past week, people being arrested for holding parties and also doing all sorts of things because they have money. You get them. And so once you put God out of the picture and stop depending on Him, I think the consequences are dire.
Yeah.
Very, very dire. Yeah.
The Lord's Prayer talks about daily bread. Yeah, it's a prayer that you say to the Lord daily to give you daily bread. It's not weekly, monthly, or 27-year-old bread, but it's daily. So it's more like it's calling dependence every day. Say, man, I need you daily. Bread is usually referred to as income, or something that brings livelihood. That's the breadwinners. They bring bread to the table, the men. So that's when you say understanding that you have to keep going back daily, something that you call out daily, you call yourself out daily, saying that I need you daily, I need God to help me daily. Yeah.
I think even like dependence does not only come from like when you're lucky.
Yeah.
Some of the things that have been learned over the years.
Yeah.
It's not only when you're lacking that you can't tell you.
Yeah.
I need this and this. And after you you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what I want, what waste to want. You get. I mean, that is as every single day.
State.
You're broke, you don't have money, and you have a quiet time in the morning. You listen to worship songs when you went to work.
Yeah.
You pray, but once that salary come, at the next day you forget about quiet times. You get. I think for me,
It stops being quiet.
You know, when you just started praying and then something crosses your mind, start marrying and be on the go and you're like, I think I should run away.
The first end.
So, but even in those moments when we have plenty or we think,
Yeah.
I think that's even when we need God the most, because our ability to veer off and go to our own thing is very high. The chances are very high. And even in those moments when you're lacking something, like let me give an example. There are days that come, I think everyone goes through this where you don't have money and you ask God for money and it gives you just enough. Just enough. And that can be annoying. Like you expected something, but he gives you just enough for you to come back and depend on him.
Yeah.
And I think for me, if I was to choose between having plenty and not knowing God or not depending on God, I think I'd go for just having enough for the day.
Yeah.
And still go to him and depend on him each and every day.
Yeah.
Because even not depending on him and thinking you can do things on our own, it's a sense of pride. It's thinking that you don't know what's good for me. And yet he's the creator of the universe. He formed you in your mother's womb. He knew you before you came out into this world. So like if the creator of the universe was my beginning and my end from my end and my end from my beginning.
Yeah.
Like what's more reason do I have you to trust him then? But we still continue to do our thing, hope and do our thing.
Yeah.
Alright. Any parting shots? Maybe?
I don't know. It's endless, like this life we're living, it's tight. What Jerry says is very profound because I think there's a lesson I've learned this month. It wasn't, those lessons where you take yourself to class, you organize. I came late to class and I was caned at the door before I entered. That is the lesson. That's how bad it was. To know that I think the real statement, I am not the one, has sort of sunk in this past month, just knowing that, boss, you think you're hard, but you're not. You're actually soft, like marshmallow. Someone just crushes you, just mushy. You can't support yourself. You can't, sincerely speaking. And just to acknowledge, first to acknowledge that God is big, and He's almighty, and He's powerful. To also acknowledge that I am small, and I am not mighty, and I am not powerful. And I need to have that connection with Him in order to be able to, live the way He wants me to live, or to, have access to who He is, the power and the might. And I think throughout the Bible, all the prophets, all the judges, all the people that God placed on earth, there's at some point where He says that, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit, and then they did this. They didn't do these things without this feeling. And that feeling never came from some random juice that they drank or some chicken that they killed. It was straight from God that they filled themselves God filled them. God filled them and they were able to do certain things. But without that feeling, when Samson sold his hair, the Spirit of God left him and he became very weak. When Saul disobeyed God, that analogy of Israel was ripped from him. The Spirit of God left him and another spirit sat in Saul. So I think the lesson would be just to not let go of the cord that connects me to God. Not to untangle it and let it loose and say, I'm now stable on my own. We're constantly in need of God, to acknowledge how big He is and to acknowledge how small we are. And also it brings up about that need for me to always call unto Him and say, God, I need you. I acknowledge that I am not independent and on my own I'm not in a chaos situation. I think I read it somewhere today that I'd rather be poor and know God than be rich and have no idea of who God is. Because just like that, you're poor, like me. But the bad thing is you don't know God, but you're both poor. You're poor without God, but for me, I am poor with God. And with that knowledge, I know that God, He created us for relationship. And to understand that as long as I have this relationship with God, I'm able to, it's not transactional, it's more like relationship with Him. Where I go back to Him constantly, without stop. Yeah. So I think that's like a lesson that being re-echoed and just understand that.
And I also feel like that is a lesson that I have learned in 2024. That He's God, He's big, creator of heaven and earth, and I'm just me. In so many different ways. I feel like that is something that has just been coming back to me. And also the aspect of us being relational. I think He created us, that way.
Yeah.
And somehow I've just reminded of the sense of community and how each one of us contributes, to each other. Even if it's just a simple good morning, when you walk in, you're like, okay, someone has wished me a good morning.
Yeah.
My day has not just started, because I woke up. And I've become very appreciative of those moments. And my relationship with God has grown to a point of trusting Him.
Yeah.
Because I've been humbled, I think is the word. In different situations to show me that, you're not a cool G. Yeah, there is someone that actually controls all these moving pieces in your life, and that has only thankfully drawn me closer to Him. So, Jerry, any interest?
When you say, I was talking to a friend of mine on Saturday. What happened in a very lengthy conversation for service. He told me that in this one day, we are all on the stage, and that is the director. So until your time comes and you leave, when you roll, there is that. But you just have to trust the direction.
Yeah.
The direction He has for this play.
Yeah.
This cosmic play.
Yeah.
Bless me. And my understanding of dependence, because we are not independent, I've come to
As a country, we depend on God.
But I think for me, my dependence has come from an understanding of what the gospel actually is, and getting to experience it in my own life.
Yeah.
And that getting that realization that I am a sinner, like in me there is no good. Yet if I even Isaiah said that, like even my deeds are like filthy rags before you. My good deeds are like filthy rags before you. I mean, even like a small good things that we do have like selfishness at the end of the corridor looking and like,
That's what's up.
Yeah.
and for me, coming to that realization that I am not good, I am a sinner inherently evil at my core, and I am in need of God each and every single day, each and every single hour, each and every single second. Without Him, I am prone to hurt people. I am prone to doing the fakest of things and dishonoring His name.
Yeah.
And so knowing that the reason He came was so that we would have a way, I would have a way back to the Father and be able to find freedom from this sinful nature you get. Of course, we as human beings we sin and all these things because it's inherent in our nature. The days that come and things just fail.
Yeah.
But even in that, going back to what Benji had said, like you don't let go of that tether, knowing that I was bought at a price. Christ is my Lord and Savior, and so He has given me the opportunity through His death, on the cross, bridging that gap between me and the Father. So I just can't let go of this tether. It's like a leaf falling off from a branch. If it falls off, that's it.
Yeah.
Because it has lost the connection, it has lost its tether to the life-giving force.
Yeah.
You get. And so every single decision that I make is a reminder. I think for me, life in general is a reminder for each of us to depend on God and to think that we are free.
Yeah. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Benny. So, are we free?
We are free to go.
We are free to go.
Never.